Have you ever tried desperately to fix something in your life? Your temper? Your anxiety? A habit you can't shake? The same argument you keep having. And no matter what you do, it just keeps coming back? You manage it for a while, you white-knuckle your behavior, and then, without warning, it bubbles right back up to the surface again. Be honest, it's exhausting, and most of us respond by working even harder on the surface. We try to control our words, manage our reactions, patch the behavior. But what if you've been working in the wrong place this whole time? What if the problem was never really on the surface at all, but somewhere much deeper, upstream, at the source? Because in Proverbs chapter 4, God gives one of the most important commands in all of Scripture, and he attaches an urgency to it that he gives to almost nothing else. He says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Above all else. Not among other things. Above them all. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand why God ranks this single command over nearly everything, and why it changes the entire way you approach your struggles. Let's start with that phrase, above all else. In the original Hebrew, it carries the sense of more than anything else you guard. Think about how much effort we put into guarding things. We lock our doors. We set passwords on our phones. We buy insurance, install security cameras, protect our money, our homes, our reputations. And God says, all of that is fine, but there is one thing more important to guard than any of it. Not your bank account, not your image, your heart. Because he knows something we constantly forget. Everything else flows from that one place. Now, to understand why, you have to understand what the Bible means by the heart. When Scripture says heart, it isn't talking about your emotions alone, and it's certainly not talking about the organ in your chest. In the original language, the heart is the deep inner control room of your entire life. It's the place where your thoughts, your beliefs, your desires, your will, and your true self all live. It's the you underneath the you that other people see. It's the source, and that word source is the key to this whole verse, because look at the reason God gives. Guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. That word flows is not an accident. The original picture is of a spring, a wellspring. Water flowing up from an underground source. Some translations put it beautifully, for from it flow the springs of life. So picture this. Imagine a town where all the drinking water comes from a single spring up in the hills. Every home, every faucet, every glass of water in that whole town traces back to that one source. Now imagine something toxic gets into that spring at the top of the hill. What happens? It doesn't stay up there. It flows downhill into every single home. Poison the source, and you poison everything downstream. That is exactly what God is saying about your heart. Your heart is the spring. And everything in your life, your words, your reactions, your decisions, your relationships, the entire direction of your life, all of it is the water that flows downstream from that source. Which means this: if something is consistently going wrong downstream, in your words, your temper, your choices, the real problem usually isn't downstream at all. It's at the spring. And this is the single most freeing and most challenging truth in this whole passage. We spend most of our lives trying to clean up the water downstream. We try to manage our anger after it explodes. We try to filter our words after they've already wounded someone. We try to fix the relationship, control the reaction, patch the behavior. But Jesus pointed straight to the source. He said, out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. In other words, your words aren't the real problem. They're just the bucket showing you what's already down in the well. There's an old country saying that captures it perfectly. What's down in the well comes up in the bucket. You can scrub the bucket all day long, but if the water keeps coming up bitter, The problem was never the bucket. It's the well. And most of us are exhausted from scrubbing buckets when God is inviting us to go tend the well. So this completely reframes how you deal with your struggles. That flash of anger you keep apologizing for, it's not really about the person who triggered it. It's revealing something about the water in your spring. That anxiety that keeps rising, that jealousy, that bitterness you can't seem to shake, none of it is random. It's flowing up from a source. And God, in His wisdom and His love, says, stop just managing the symptoms downstream. Come with me to the source, and let's deal with it there. But here's the honest part we can't skip. The Bible also tells us that the human heart, left on its own, doesn't naturally stay pure. Jeremiah says the heart is deceitful above all things. In other words, the spring doesn't just stay clean by itself. It's constantly under threat of contamination. Every day, things are trying to seep into that source. What you watch, what you dwell on, the bitterness you rehearse, the fear you feed, the lies you start to believe about yourself and about God. Guarding your heart means paying attention to what you're allowing to flow into the spring in the first place. So, what does it actually look like to guard the source? Let me give you a few ways. First, watch what you let in. You are not a helpless victim of your own heart. You have a say in what flows into the spring. What you consistently watch, listen to, and dwell on doesn't just entertain you, it shapes the very source of your life. So be honest about what you're feeding your heart. Some of the water in your spring is bitter because you keep pouring bitter things into it. Second, pay attention to the overflow because it's a diagnostic. When something ugly comes up, the harsh word, the flash of envy, the sudden anxiety, instead of just feeling guilty and scrubbing the bucket, get curious. Ask, what is this revealing about my spring? What's really down there that this just brought to the surface? The overflow isn't just a failure to manage. It's information about the source. Third, and most importantly, invite God to cleanse the source. Because here is the truth. You cannot fully purify your own spring. This is where so many people misunderstand this verse and turn it into exhausting self-effort, white-knuckling their own hearts into shape. But you were never meant to do this alone. King David understood this. When his own heart was corrupted, he didn't just try harder. He prayed, "Create in me a clean heart, O God." He asked God to do at the source what he could not do himself. Guarding your heart is not you standing guard alone through sheer willpower. It's you partnering with the only one who can actually reach down into the spring and make the water pure again. And that's why this command is ultimately such good news. God isn't giving you one more impossible thing to manage. He's telling you where the real change actually happens and then offering to meet you there. He's saying stop wearing yourself out downstream. The transformation you've been longing for was never going to come from managing your behavior. It comes from a renewed heart, and I will help you renew it. So the question tonight isn't, how do I control my behavior better? That's downstream thinking, and it will keep you exhausted forever. The real question is, what's in my spring, and will I let God near enough to cleanse it? It's not that your behavior is the real problem. It's that your behavior is showing you what's in the source. It's not that you have to scrub harder downstream. It's that you have to tend the well. It's not that you guard your heart alone. It's that you invite the one who made it to keep it pure. You have spent so long exhausted, cleaning up the same messes over and over, wondering why nothing ever really changes. And it's because the change you need was never downstream. It was at the spring the whole time. Guard that source. Watch what flows into it. Pay attention to what flows out of it, and invite God to make it clean in the places you never could. Do that, and slowly, from the inside out, the whole river of your life begins to run clear. So tonight, before you close this video, stop scrubbing the bucket for just a moment and go to the well. Ask God to show you what's really in your spring and invite Him to begin cleaning it at the source. Say it out loud or in the quiet of your own heart. God, create in me a clean heart. Guard the source of my life. And if this reached something you've been wrestling with on the surface for far too long, go down to the comments and type these words. Create in me a clean heart. By typing them, you're stopping the endless scrubbing and inviting God to do the deep work at the source, where real change has always come from. If someone came to mind while you were watching, someone worn out from managing the same struggles over and over, share this video with them. It might just be the exact reminder they need today. And if you want more of these simple, freeing biblical truths, subscribe to BibleTruth, where we break down Scripture to help you resolve your faith and walk in real freedom. Thank you so much for watching BibleTruth, and I'll see you in the next one.